Thanks. And we are live, guys. Thanks a lot for coming out here on this fine Saturday afternoon. And happy Groundhog's Day to everybody. Just for everybody's information, the groundhog did not see his shadow this morning. So that means an early spring. So basically, get ready for winter clothes. It's t-shirts and shorts time in a couple of weeks. And of course, up in Ireland, that's not necessarily the case. And we had a late cancellation. Jon Greenhands was gracious enough to come on and to do the show today. And looks like he's preparing for an interview at a record store. So what's going on, Jon, in the land of rainbows and leprechauns?
I love it when I click the unmute button and it doesn't click. That's a really great way to start the stream off. Hi, I'm going for an interview at a record store. You had that up your sleeve before we even started, you fucker. What's good, y'all? I was attending to many things today, and one of them was going to be Milt's abuse as soon as I said, sure thing, homie, pen me in. And it's obviously awesome to be here. I don't think I'm going to lose this time because I have the winning way. This is my secret trick to use for this game. Do you know what I mean? I don't think I can lose. What would Stannis Baratheon do? And yes, the book is fireproof. Get fucked, everybody. And shout out to Eris and her sister for grabbing us this awesome book. And delighted to be here, Mr. Milt. This game's fun as hell. And salute to everybody in the chat.
Yeah, and yeah, thanks a lot, everybody, for coming by in the chat. And if you haven't basically written down like a positive integer between 1 and 10, please do so. There is a reason why I'm asking for these questions here. Okay, basically, I'm trying to involve you guys in terms of in terms of the randomness of the actual game itself. So you will see why I'm doing what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and basically start with a Clash of Crows. That's the name of the game. And here's the fun. Essentially, what we have here is basically a death battles game that features characters from a Game of Thrones with weapons at a location. And then we discuss or debate as to see who actually wins the battle. Fun, right? So, like in this example, we have Sansa with nunchucks against Three Finger Hob with a pool cue stick at YT. And that's how we go. And then we basically discuss who's going to win. Obviously, Three Finger Hob's going to win, even with 3 fingers. So, again, Sansa Stark. So, what, Johnny?
Yeah.
Did you have a comment on that, or?
I don't know. Sansa and Nunchuk, she doesn't even know how to use a decent plot line, so I doubt she's going to be prosperous in this event.
Yeah, more than likely, she'll be swinging that around and hit her in the head and hit herself in the head with those nunchucks, right? So, anyway, so the first person that gave me an integer between 1 and 10 was Dog, and he said 2. So basically, I'm gonna randomize the board 2 times, and we're gonna discuss our first scenario, Johnny. So
let's get it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Get
1, 2.
Good to get smashed.
Oh no! Okay, we have Albus Dumbledore with a spiked battle club against.
Why is he even in this?
Because that's just the way it is. Against Qyburn with Nightfall, the Valyrian steel sword of House Harlaw at the Night Fort. Who takes this, Johnny, and why?
Well, Albus, like, he's a wizard, you know, so Samuel Tarly can probably get his dream to come true if he gets close to him. I'd have to say, just on merit alone, though, like, Albus is a wizard. How does the details go when it comes to, like, does he need his wand to do certain magic? Like, I have to understand this Harry Potter stuff.
I think he's a good enough wizard where he can do, like non-verbal magic.
And give us an example.
So, I mean, he doesn't actually need a wand. You know, he's supposedly like the best wizard on Earth, right? At this point.
Yeah, so I think he just puts the Spike Battle Club down, has a good laugh at Qyburn, and then they just does what? Petronius Explodia.
Yeah, but see, I mean, I kind of disagree because, you know, I mean, Albus is, you know, he's pretty long in the tooth, right? I mean, can he actually carry a Spike Battle Club?
Does he need to carry a spiked battle club?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's his weapon.
Yeah, but like just with his like feats, do you know what I mean? You could give the mountain a stick, like, and it's like with the strength of him alone, he wouldn't really need the stick because he'd still be able to smash people. So Albus and the magic. What's the magic level?
Assume he didn't have any magic, or he was like, you know, he basically drank some weird potion that basically inhibited his powers. And all I have was a spiked battle club. What do you think?
Okay. Can I get what size is Albus? Because in the movies he looked like a big motherfucker. So can you give me a height?
Say he's like 6 foot tall, maybe 190 pounds.
Okay. Well, now that helps level out. So I'm guessing. So Albus, compared to Qyburn, he's big. You could say. He definitely has the build on him. He's definitely. The both of them are old, actually. So I don't think age will be a ball game changer. This is fucked up already. I love it. He has a spiked battle club. I have to put that against Nightfall. I don't think Albus is an idiot, so that would mean Qyburn would have to trick him, you know, to even come close with that. So I'd say Albus. I think it's a straightforward fight. It'll come to physicality, and Albus, if he has no choice and it's a death battle, he's got the better weapon here to do damage and just smash his face open.
See, I don't think so. I don't necessarily agree that he has a better weapon. Nightfall's a Valyrian steel sword, man. I mean that can easily just basically split apart. You know, once it meets that spiked battle club, you know, the Valyrian steel sword can probably just like split it in half. You know, to me, the location actually is actually advantageous towards Qyburn, right? Because we have the Night Fort, right? A lot of evil dastardly stuff happening at the Night Fort, right? There's a lot of evil stuff like necromancy going on there, human sacrifices, all sorts of things are happening at the Night Fort. That's right down Qyburn's alley. See, Albus is of the light, right? I mean, he would be very. Albus would be very, very uncomfortable being at the Night Fort since he's like, of the light, power of good and that kind of stuff. Whereas Qyburn is really in his element, right? I mean, the guy's a necromancer, right? The guy raises people from the dead. So, he's used to that kind of, evil shit that's going on. And that Valyrian steel blade, is imbued with magical powers, right? There's some magic, in Valyrian steel, so that might actually offset any kind of magic that Albus Dumbledore would, invoke. It's tough.
So how is Qyburn attacking him though? You've built a good case for him, I think, with location. Well, he's coming in from a different realm, so he's screwed there. But I would be curious as to how Qyburn, how his defense is good by your logic, but how would his attack go? Because I get the Valyrian steel, the shattering, but you have to think of who's wielding it. I don't think he has the strength to shatter anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, Qyburn's not exactly a spring chicken. No, I mean, Albus Dumbledore is not exactly a spring chicken either, right? And spiked battle clubs are pretty heavy. I mean, spiked battle clubs are usually wielded by big, humongous, barbarians from the north, right? Danes, Vikings. You said he was
6 foot. You bullshit me.
Giants. I mean, we're talking about Albus Dumbledore here, who's like 95 or 100 years old or whatever he is right now. I mean, and we never seen Albus Dumbledore actually fight hand to hand in any movie, right? He's always had that crutch, using his magic. Now you put him in there. That's what I was thinking. No, you put him in there with a melee weapon, okay? That's, I don't think, as good as a Valyrian steel sword. Okay, then I think the person with the best weapon wins, because I think both of these characters are roughly of equal hand-to-hand fighting ability, right? They're both old, weak,
Yeah, their age cancels each other out.
Exactly, definitely. Yeah. Okay, and the location, I would have to give to Qyburn only because of the evilness of that location. The whole human sacrifices, the whole necromancy that goes on. Albus is too, I mean, he'd be uncomfortable in a location like the Night Fort. And then, and then the weapon, right? Who has the better weapon? Okay, if the character fighting abilities are equal, then
I disagree there.
The weapon here. You got
I disagree there. Everything else,
wooden battle club.
Yeah, but I'd still, if you had to pick one man in a one-on-one fight here, for physicality, that has to go to Albus.
Physicality?
Do you know what I'm saying? Look at him to Qyburn.
That's talking about, they're all Albus fans, so whatever.
Your fighting list can only be of those you beat and put in front of you, as you say. In boxing, you can only beat those put in front of you. So in this case, Albus is a big, giant motherfucker because it's in comparison to Qyburn. Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean by physicality.
I mean, Albus is like what? Again, 6 foot 180. Maybe Qyburn's 5'9", 175. It's not much of a difference, right? I mean, you also got a Valyrian steel sword up against a spiked battle club.
But I don't know in the books if Albus is wrote differently to how he looks. He just looks much bigger. I look at them from a visual aspect from the show and the movies respectively, and put Albus beside Qyburn here and tell me he's as big as him.
I think people are not understanding that Albus's magic, even he could use it, is actually offset here, because we're not talking about magical abilities, right? We're talking about Albus Dumbledore with a freaking spiked battle club here. Okay, so try to move your magical bias out of the way in this scenario. Okay, so, please. Okay, now everybody loves Albus Dumbledore, Harry Potter, blah blah blah. But please try to get.
I've no dog in that race, Milt. I have no dog in that race for the record.
What I'm looking at is that they both have the same hand-to-hand fighting ability. Qyburn has a better weapon by far, the Valyrian steel longsword.
I agree.
Okay, and the Night Fort. Okay, place of pure evil. Qyburn's probably a little bit more comfortable in that kind of location than Albus would be.
Qyburn is comfy in pure evil.
Okay.
No, I get you. I get you on that. I think they're like it's a fair base of defense. But again, it come to physicality. Ooh, there's evil in
Okay,
this location.
again,
It doesn't matter. I'm walking towards you with a
sure.
spiked battle club. You're too frail to lift that sword. Like you're too frail to do anything with that sword. Could Dumbledore be caught? No doubt. But Qyburn's skill with a blade, I've not got much knowledge on that, and I've not read anything that led me to believe he would be capable. That's most maesters, you know. And Albus, I would believe I believe just take a swing. It'd be like old men grappling, and then he just picks that up and smashes them.
And also, what weapon's actually lighter? I mean, we're talking about Nightfall, a Valyrian steel sword. Okay, that's a lot lighter than a normal steel sword. So even Qyburn, as an old man, right, can probably wield it much better relative to Albus Dumbledore, who's also an old man with a spiked battle club. Spiked battle clubs are freaking heavy weapons, right? I mean, they're normally wielded by like, these big gigantic, Viking dudes, right? Or barbarians from the north.
Okay. Then here's me base argument for it is after hearing everything said, and it's okay if you're wrong, Milt, and I know it's crazy coincidental. It's every time it's against me. It's okay. Let's not talk about the past competitions months ago. Who cares about that? Is for real, I think they approach each other. I don't think the location matters. They're two old men, and you said magic is out of the way, so it's like that's going to negate the two of them. So I believe Albus approaches him. I'd say Qyburn tries to take a few swings, but it doesn't go. He blocks it with his spiked battle club. It'll weaken the two of them because their physical prowess isn't that great. And the fact I just have Albus edging on physical prowess, maybe to get into a grapple, and then he picks up that sword after the grapple, and then Qyburn, you're out, ski bro. That's how I think that happens.
Okay. Well, I guess we basically have to agree to disagree on this. I think Qyburn is more nasty than he actually lets on in terms of fighting ability. I mean, he was with the Brave Companions. Maybe he probably did do some kind of fighting with the Brave Companions. And again, what has Albus Dumbledore shown in terms of actual hand-to-hand fighting ability with a melee weapon? All he does is uses magic. What is he actually? I think Milt's just arguing with the chat at this stage. As basically hand-to-hand fighting ability, guys, right?
I don't know, Milt. Convince the crowds there.
Yeah, okay. I mean, everybody loves Albus, but come on. Okay, what is actually shown? Versus Qyburn, more likely, I mean, I don't know exactly how his involvement was with basically, the battles, between the Brave Companions and other people that he actually, they actually fought against, but. I'm sure he had a little bit of training to be part of that gang. Okay.
I don't know if you're saying that to me, Milt. You've given my answer. I'm sticking with my answer.
Okay, well, I'm sticking with Qyburn here. So, so the next person that basically put in a number was Bran with 6. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right.
Neville versus Braun. What?
Okay, we have Ilario Mopadis, the former First Sword of Bravos, now a cheesemonger living in Pentos, with a bowling ball.
Deja vu.
Okay, at the House of the Undying against Drogon with a short sword.
I went first last time, Milt. Go for it. Make your case. I'm just scratching my head. Did he say Drogon? Like that's what I'm scratching
Drogon.
my head.
I think Drogon was going to win this, but the problem is that here's the
thing.
Okay,
you think?
Okay, no. I mean, here's the thing. Okay, Drogon would have a great advantage if they're outdoors, but they are in the House of the Undying, right? So I mean, Drogon would be grounded, right? He won't be able to fly in that thing, right? I mean, it'll be like one of these bull in the China shops sort of scenarios going on here. I mean, the short sword thing, I mean, that's... Okay, Drogon has the size over Malario, obviously, right? He's much larger. So has more physicality. But the bowling ball is a pretty dangerous weapon, right? And Ilario can probably swing that bowling ball pretty nicely. But I'm just not sure if the bowling ball can do much damage against a dragon.
That's very perverse how you said that.
So
swing that bowling ball.
So here's the thing. So what I'm thinking here is that Alari Mopatis, he's not very nimble, no, based on his, weight and age at this point, even though he is a former first sword of Bravos. You know, he's
I
not
love
very
reminding us of
nimble.
that.
He doesn't have a great weapon against dragons, right? I mean, he basically has a bowling ball, a blunt weapon, and then dragons have like these really, hard scales. I mean, if it was a sword or a spear, especially like a Valerian steel sword, I mean, I could see that sword, taking down Drogon. Um, Drogon has a disadvantage in the House of the Undying because he's a much bigger target and he's actually grounded. He won't be able to move. But I just think that Lara doesn't have the offensive weaponry to basically take Drogon. And Drogon, even with a shitty weapon like a short sword, can probably, just brush him off and kill him. I gotta go with Drogon here.
Yeah, I just think it's hilarious to even debate. I like how you were making an effort to. It's like it's kind of, if you wanted to make a challenge, and it's like, how does an event where Lario wins? It's like, what does he do? If Drogon's entangled, but if Drogon's entangled in this this tower, so to speak, obviously he's constricted, can't really move. The only way Lario could win is what he fucking rolls a strike and fucking goes into Drogon's mouth as he's about to fucking Dracarys him and he just self-implodes or some shit. No. And that's not happening though. That's Shrek shit.
Yeah, I mean, a bowling ball could be a really good weapon, right? All you need to do is put your fingers in it. Basically grasp it, basically swing it around swinging around like a weapon. No, especially a light bowling ball, like maybe 6 or 8 ounces. Like for women. I mean, it works fine. But
that'll do damage to a dragon, homie.
It won't. That's why I'm saying dragon will win because I think that weapon is to Ilario's disadvantage here. I mean,
there's many things that's to his disadvantage here.
Well, especially that.
It's not the bowling ball.
But I mean, and also Drogon's physicality, right? Will I think win at the end of the day. I mean, even if he's grounded. I mean, he's invulnerable to that bowling ball. If it was like a spear or like a Valerian steel sword in the hands of a good fighter against a grounded dragon, perhaps.
I can just see how season 7 ended now, except instead of the spear, it's with a bowling ball.
Yeah.
And even the Night's King ain't doing that shit. Yeah, it's Drogon, isn't it? Just absolute Dracarys everywhere. It's game over. We got some melted cheese, y'all.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Drogon has the clear advantage here because I mean, Erlar doesn't have the weaponry to basically take him. I mean, even though Drogon does have a disadvantage, of being grounded at this point. A good fighter,
game over.
A good fighter with an awesome weapon, like a Valerian steel sword, might have a chance.
Yeah, because Valerian steel, at least that's something that can be done.
Yeah.
In this case, it's a bowling ball.
Yeah, but the bowling ball won't. It's blunt. I mean, you won't be able to pierce the dragon scales.
I would love to see an animated episode of that fight. To be honest with you.
Yeah. So you're going with Drogon here, right? Obviously.
Oh, I didn't get it so straightforward.
Yeah,
I did learn a few things though from this debate. How Milt was giving tips on how to use a bowling ball as a weapon. You stick your fingers in, and so I think your fingers there be things happening to your fingers after you connect with someone with that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't even think about that, right? I mean, the sheer force. You may actually break your fingers.
Now a Valerian steel bowling ball. Now
yeah, maybe. It may be. It'd be a lot lighter.
Scary.
It'd be a lot lighter too. So
just keep bouncing it off his head.
Okay. Okay, so Drogon wins this unanimously. So let's go to the next one. Iris puts in 8 clicks. So
lucky number 8 for the editors.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. We have the Great Jon Umber with a fire extinguisher. Okay. Okay. At Driftmark against Missandei with a club.
Where's the location again, Milton?
Driftmark is the ancestral seat of House Valerian.
All right, so Melisandre has the ground location.
So it's an island, right? So I don't think it matters here, but
okay. Do you want me to start this one off?
Yeah, sure.
Or do you want to start it off?
No, I started off the last one, so it's your turn now.
I'm equally confused. is, and I'm talking about fingering balls now. Fuck you, DA. That is not the context, brother. It's all right. Great John Umber, fire extinguisher. Now, if only Illyrio had that in the last round. Sunday and a club. There's the involvement of magic, like because no, we don't know the extent of the red god. We do know he is ever present. If we take the magic out, I think it's a non-debatable. The Great John Umber for Shireen, just out of good karma. You know, he yelled for Shireen. You know, with the back end of the extinguisher, nice cold steel way. Bang, bang, knocks the medallion off fucking Melisande. And now we have an Umber beating the shit out of an old woman. I think it's a fatality Mortal Kombat style ending for Melisandre. Oh, Missandei.
It's not
Missandei, sorry.
Yeah.
Missandei. All right, the whole time. Well, no, then it's an easier fight. I thought it was Melisandre. That's what I was saying about magic. Okay, Missandei, it's an easier fight. I can just see it now on the screen. Yeah, then it's he's given her a permanent perm of blood across her temple. That's non-debatable.
Yeah. I mean, in this case, if you start with the location, I don't think anybody has an advantage here. You know, basically on an island. You know, we're not indoors or outdoors. We're outdoors, but it's nobody has a home field advantage here that I can think about. You know, there's no ships or anything like that floating around that can actually help you, like a kraken perhaps rising out the waters. Let's see. And now you have to look at basically, and then in terms of the weaponry, I mean, both of them are pretty equally, awesome weapons, right? I mean, a fire extinguisher at the hands of a strong person, right, can be a pretty deadly freaking weapon. You know,
okay.
I mean, you see firemen, right, basically knocking down doors with fire extinguishers, breaking through windows and everything else, right? I mean, imagine one of these fire extinguishers, cracking up against your head, right? It's not gonna be a pretty sight.
Translate this. Bang.
Exactly. Yeah. And clubs are probably easier to wield, right, than a fire extinguisher, but I think they both have equally equal potential in terms of damage dealing ability. So
it's all about the wielder, isn't it?
Yeah. So if the weapons are the same and the location is the same, then you have to look at the characters themselves and the relative fighting abilities. And come on, I mean, what we have is a former slave girl from Astapor who happens to know 300 languages or whatever it is, but that's all she knows, right? I mean, she's not a trained fighter or a melee fighter or any kind of warrior type, and I seriously doubt Grey Worm's been training her and giving her lessons in how to fight. She's
learning fighting tips off Danny.
Yeah, and you have Great Jon Umber, who's a monster of a man, right? I mean, he's like he's about maybe half a foot smaller than a mountain, and the mountain's like 8 feet, right? Great Jon's probably like at least 8 to 7 foot tall, probably, close, right? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Great Jon wins this just by sheer fighting abilities because the weapons offset one another and the location doesn't really give a advantage to either character. So I agree with you. I think Great Jon wins it.
I think this round ends with Grey Worm giving a eulogy for Missandei of not Missandei of not buried.
Yep. So
it's a close fight, very close fight.
It's not definitely. But this is not a close fight at all. I mean, if Missandei had a better weapon, she might have a chance, like a ranged weapon, like a shotgun or something like that. Then maybe, she can
shotgun changes everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Anytime the shotgun comes into play, it's being round off.
Exactly, but since the weapons are basically offset one another, I mean, there's really no hope for Missandei here. So, Great Jon takes it. So, for me at least, and what about for you? Same thing, obviously, right? Same thing.
Oh, 200%. Yeah, it's fatality. Finish her. That's how that's
guys. You guys get that? It's a fatality move here. So.
Yeah, it's game over.
And the next person is Phil, and Phil picked 5. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, interesting here. Okay, we have Ariel Hota with a flaming torch.
Okay.
On the Isle of Faces against Tywin Lannister with a pike.
Oh, that's I already have my answer, but it's just an interesting visual, you know, in my head to have them two in that place. And Milt, it's on you to take it away. I've made my choice.
Okay.
But that's interesting.
Okay. Well, everybody knows I'm a big Tywin fan, right? But I'm not gonna let that bias, influence my decisions like Albus Dumbledore does to everybody. So what I'm saying here is that on the Isle of Faces, I don't think anybody has a clear advantage here. I mean, there's, a lot of trees, perhaps, but there's probably enough room to wield a pike. I mean, I'd be concerned if there's not enough maneuvering room to wield a pike, because pikes are like maybe 10 feet long, right? But I think there probably is, especially some of the clearings. I mean, it's not like a dense forest, right? There are clearings in the Isle of Faces. Weaponry, I would have to give to the ranged weapon here. I mean, a flaming torch is nice. It works against vampires, perhaps, old women, perhaps some animals.
Old women?
yeah, perhaps.
Can we get a check on Milt, please?
Okay. Perhaps animals, but, mystical beings, maybe a unicorn, perhaps. But, it doesn't, I just don't think it will have the reach advantage like a pike would, right? I mean, pikes has a really reach advantage here, a really good reach advantage here. And now you have to look at the fighting abilities, and this is where it gets kind of tricky. We know who Erahota is, right? Bearded Priest of Narvos. Okay. No,
I'm just waiting until we go to the actual combat level.
He's the bodyguard of Duran Martell. Of course, his main weapon is an axe, right? It's a double-bladed axe. It's not, a flaming torch.
Tywin, I don't think Tywin's desired weapon is a pike either.
No, but he's been trained at the pike, right? Being a lord and everything, right? I mean, he probably deals with the foot soldiers and the infantry. I mean, he knows enough. He knows enough tactics about when to use a pike, right? Pikes are really good against mounted horsemen, right? They're charging. I mean, that's why pikes were developed against these mounted knights. Basically, knock them down their horses, right? Or stab them, as they're charging, knock them down, or basically pierce them through the armor into their hearts or whatever. God, this is gonna be tough. It's like, can Arya get within range of Tywin's pike to basically burn Tywin alive with that flaming torch?
That's where your brain is going.
Yeah. And then and then I got to think about, then you have to think about how great of a fighter is Tywin Lannister. I mean, he was probably pretty decent, right? I mean, he's no chump, right? He's not a joke. I mean, even at his 60-year-old age, keeps himself fit, right? He's still pretty fierce. For sure, a pike would be a Lannister weapon, right, in the infantry. So he probably is very familiar with it. Man, but Arya is just such a big dude, I mean, he's probably quick enough, to, I think, get inside the point of the pike very easily. And once you're inside the point of the pike, then the pike becomes useless. I gotta go with Arya here. I think Arya can get inside of that. Inside of the range of the pike, and basically, flash that flaming torch on Tywin Lannister's face and basically burn him. Basically turn Tywin Lannister into the Hound, essentially. So I'm going with Arya here, even though I love Tywin Lannister.
I know, yeah, it was a nice draw up that you did. When it comes to the actual fighting ability of a character, just how I do it in my mind is you have your good swordsman, then you have your great swordsman, and then you have your legendary swordsman. I believe for I put Stannis on the fight in terms of Ned, and I'd give Tywin that. Prime Tywin was probably that as well, where they're good swordsmen. You know how Ned fought against Jaime? Yeah. That's a good swordsman against a legendary swordsman. Sure, yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Definitely. So that's how I'd compare the fighting style. I believe Arya is kind of in between that. He's a great, swordsman would be the wrong choice of words, but great fighter. In between that, so I think he definitely edges him for that. And unless Tywin has a pen letter, do you know what I mean? He could write the letter and get someone to, shout out to season 5. It was horrible. But yeah, the whole time when you were making the argument for interesting to say Tywin would probably have some experience. I thought that was a great point. But the whole time I'm just looking at Arya Hotah. He's like a Black Hulk Do you know what I mean? It's like he's just, are you kidding me? Yeah, he just weaves around that pike. Tywin would have to be excellent with that pike, not good, excellent.
Yeah.
And it'd have to be one shot. If he misses that shot, then area he's by that reach and it's game over. So I do see that happening because Tywin's a good fighter and it take a great or a legendary fighter to pull that feature off, which is what he's not. So Ariel Hota comes true, and I'd say he smashes him in the face, and he'd probably go for a sadistic slow death because of what Tywin was rumored to have done to the prince. Do you know what I mean? So I think it'd be slow. Maybe stick the fucking torch down his throat or something. You know, just stomp it down till it goes out the back of it or something crazy. I play Mortal Kombat games too much, maybe, but something crazy like that. And unlucky Tywin.
I mean, it would have been a fair fight if you were a whole man.
Season 5 quote.
Yeah,
shame on you.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, the more I think about it, I mean, the thing about the pike, right? I mean, we all know is a long spear, right? Essentially, it's essentially a spear with probably an extra 4 feet of range or 5 feet of range, and it's not very maneuverable, right? It's not a nimble weapon. So I think it's easy for our Hota, a trained fighter, who's still in pretty good shape. I mean, he's not idiotic enough to basically charge in there and basically run into a pike, I mean, he's probably nimble enough, and the pike isn't nimble enough to actually, isn't nimble enough to actually follow Arahota as he's kind of like dodging the blows, right? I mean, imagine holding like a 10-foot long stick, right? I mean, you can't woo that thing and against somebody 10 feet away, and then he's like running around trying to dodge it. It's very hard to move that stick around, okay, and follow your opponent's movement. So
and the thing is, though, more reason, Ariel, add this as you're making that point on Milt, is you have to weigh in the whole Tywin thing. Tywin really doesn't care who he's fighting. He just cares about his family. So, the passion of the fight, would that come into question? Because as we were saying, Ariel has many reasons to give Tywin's head back to the Prince of Dorne. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's got many reasons. So with that anger and hate, would that either cloud his judgment or make him stronger?
No, I think Tywin has a sense of self-preservation here. So, I mean, he will rely on his experience to basically try to survive this fight. I mean, I think most characters will have a sense of self-preservation. But I mean, I just don't think Tywin can do it. I mean, I think that weapon is to Tywin's disadvantage here. It's not maneuverable enough, to basically hit Arahota, who's a trained fighter, to basically kill him. I think Arahota would dodge that weapon. It's a slow weapon and basically win. Rush him in, punch him in the face, and set him on fire. And bye-bye Tywin.
Yeah, it's similar, except mine is a more gruesome death because of what Tywin has done. Like, do you know what I mean? That's not forgotten. As long the North remembers, so does the South, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, if Tywin had a bag of gold as a weapon, then he might throw that bag of gold at Aryo, and then maybe Aryo would be distracted. Maybe he's getting underpaid by Doran Martell. and then then he can come in there, with the pike. But unfortunately, Tywin doesn't have a pot of gold, okay? And Aryo probably isn't like Mord, so you can't do it.
If he had a shorter weapon, that didn't balance on the reach, I believe it'd be closer.
Yep,
definitely. But very similar. You have a similar outcome on this one.
Yeah, definitely. If Tywin Lannister had a sword, it'd be a much closer fight, but that pike isn't a maneuverable or nimble weapon here. So, all right. So we agree on Aryo Hota in this matchup. So the next person...
That was a good one, though. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Like,
the next person's OTDA, and he gives me the number 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay. We have Alistair Thorne with a Scorpion Ballista at the Iron Bank against Sansa Stark with a pot of melted gold. All right. Okay, let me take a break here and think about this for a little bit. I'm trying to see where that Sansa even has a chance. All right, we are in the Iron Bank here, and I would have to give Sansa an advantage here only because the Scorpion Ballista is an outdoor weapon, right? It's not built to be maneuvered around indoors, and especially in a freaking bank, right? It's kind of hard to do here. You can't wield it, you can't turn it around. It's easy to dodge, right? I mean, Scorpion Ballistas are made for basically killing large creatures, right? Like dragons or
But
elephants and that kind of
Sansa
stuff.
failed to dodge Ramsay's deed, you know what I mean? And that's a
Yeah.
pretty small deed, and she couldn't even dodge
All
that.
right.
Come on.
Okay. So I think that location favors. Well, the location favors Sansa with that particular, with the weaponry. So I think the weaponry. I think Sansa has the weaponry advantage here, even though a pot of melted gold is impossible to get unless you have a crucible, and then basically, you basically melted it in a furnace. So Dothraki's, you can't get a pot of melted gold in that Golden Crown episode, and I'll keep on saying that as long as I live. Now, character-wise,
Okay. Even make a
it,
comeback case for Sansa, man. Don't
yeah. There's no case for Sansa. I mean, Alistair Thorne, he's a trained warrior. He was a knight of the Crown's Land. Basically later on disgraced during Robert's Rebellion, so he took the Black. Okay, and now he's the maester or the master at arms at Castle Black. We know he can fight, right, with any kind of weapon. Even with his pure hands if needed. We know he can fight.
Unless there's a problem, yeah.
Yeah, he's an underrated beast. Sansa cannot fight. We all know that, right? I mean, she's more comfortable playing the political game, sitting down with, all the rest of the court, the courtiers in the palace and eating lemon cakes.
That is a strong trait when it comes to fighting, that lemon cake.
Yeah. The lemon cakes will not help her. I mean, it's not like spinach that Popeye will eat, right? So
they make you fat, Sansa.
Yeah. So I mean, even with that disadvantage to Scorpion Ballista, I just can't see Sansa beating Alistair Thorne because she can't knock him out to even use that pot of melted gold to her advantage. There's no way that she can knock her out. I mean, again, it's one of these things where Sansa Stark doesn't have enough weaponry or the fighting ability to basically penetrate Alistair Thorne's defenses. Especially his advantage as a much more physically imposing, person, as well as being trained in the, in the warrior's ways and fighting abilities. I mean, it's not a contest here. I mean, even that Scorpion Ballista, you can't move it around. Sansa Stark can't hit. Sansa can't do anything to Alistair Thorne. Alistair Thorne will probably wear her down eventually, and boom, Sansa dies. It's Alistair Thorne all the way here.
I like how you tried to make a case. That's what I was like, all right, I'll see where he's going with it. It's impossible. I seen one comment in the chat that was very good about Sansa will try and use the gold to go to the Iron Bank and get someone else to kill him. Obviously in the death battles, it is just this person versus that person. So it's what they use in their hands for an aggressive reason, not a smart reason, if you get me. My answer is short and sweet. Shout out to Robin. It's pretty much. Do you remember when it's season 1? It'll be a shout out to season 1. He takes that melted gold off and then a crown for a bitch, and then just it's game over. The last thing Sansa said was, "Well, what's the noise of metal hitting the ground? Is it like dink?" But that's my.
Well, it depends how dense the metal. All depends how dense the metal is and what kind of container it's in.
All right, wait, we go for this. Right, we go for this. A crown for a bitch.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what we go with. It's easy.
Yes, easy. It's Alistair Thorne all the way. And I'm gonna give you guys 5 seconds. Somebody put in a number between 1 and 10. That's a positive integer. Or next round. Right now, people guys gave me numbers, even though I asked way back in the beginning.
Throwing shade out.
And while we're waiting, thanks a lot, guys, for coming out here. It's great to see you guys out here, especially on a early Saturday afternoon. Unless you're in Europe, then it's dinner time. Or preparing for an interview at a record store like Johnny is doing right now.
Hi, guys. I'm looking for a job at a record store. I know Nirvana. Can I have a job? Can I have a job, please?
All right. So Felicia says 8. She's the first one. So we're going to go with 8 here. All right. We have Gendry with a hatchet in the crypts of Winterfell against Fat Walda with a fire extinguisher.
Another tough fight, eh?
All right, Johnny, it's your turn.
Well, obviously, I'm gonna try Milt's approach and make a case for Fat Walda here, seeing as she's the obvious favorite of this fight. An axe, a hammer, you know what I mean? If you were to put two items that are very similar, I think Gendry's looking pretty good right now. The Crypts Winterfell, well, you know what I mean? Walda would have the advantage because right now she's buried there, so she has been there for a while. Depending on what Ramsay left of her there. Oh, that's horrible. Why am I saying this shit? Oh, wait, is Fat Walda the one who married Roose?
Fat Walda married Roose.
All right.
And so she's horizontally challenged.
What's that mean?
Okay.
All right, so Fat Walda, okay, is so Roose got his weight in gold for her, so to speak. I remember now. I don't know if it was a cook-off. You know what I mean? I'd say Fat Walda has it, but the fact that it's a fight, and I think Gendry would actually survive the next 2 books, to be honest, just from eating on her, like probably a new series he'd last just chilling down there with Fat Walda. This isn't a fight anymore. It's how long Gendry, like, would Gendry survive the end story just by roasting Fat Walda and eating that down in the crypts while everything blows over? That's the real question. You know,
who wins, Johnny? Who wins?
Oh, it's a tough one. It's a very tough one. I don't know. A hatchet is good for the calories, so maybe Gendry would do her a favor. I'd have to go with Gendry there, but very tough fucking call, man.
Yeah, you know, and here's the thing. I mean, don't underestimate the powers of a pregnant woman at this time, right? Fat Walda is pregnant, or she could be pregnant. I'm not sure if it's post or pre childbirth here with Fat Walda. But Gendry's pretty strong, right? Gendry has, a blacksmith's strength, right? So I mean, that's pretty powerful in itself. So in terms of character and fighting ability, I would have to give it to Gendry, even though he doesn't have any formal fighting ability. He still has that blacksmith's strength, right? That would probably offset a woman's, rage, if you will. Perhaps, I don't know. Weaponry, I call this even. Okay, it's they went offset one. A fire extinguisher again is a pretty freaking dangerous weapon. The hands of the right person. Fat Walda, I'm not quite sure if it is, but it's not like a sword where you have to be trained to use it, right? Anybody with no fighting experience can use a fire extinguisher. Just kind of swing it around, right? You might land a lucky punch. Crypts of Winterfell actually is advantageous towards Fat Walda, because if this was in the outdoors, Gendry will win for sure, right? We'll have the clear advantage. But since they're both in a very enclosed, tight space, they're both within range of one another. So Fat Walda has a puncher's chance because she is within range of Gendry. Or get within range of Gendry very, very quickly. She can't move, but since they're inside,
so how's she gonna throw a punch?
She'll just swing that fire extinguisher. Lands a lucky punch.
Are you saying that she'll use her unhealthy diet like as momentum in the swing with the fire extinguisher?
Yeah, she has momentum, right? It's mass times velocity, and she can put a lot of velocity into that fire extinguisher. She has a lot of mass. She has a lot of mass to wield it. So, but I mean, again, it boils down to this is the same thing with regards to the other scenarios here. I think it boils down to like the character's fighting ability, because the weapons offset one another. The crypts helps Fat Walda, but all it does is that it evens out the chances for her to win. Gendry, just age, physicality, strength, has the clear advantage over Fat Walda. So, strength points have to go to Gendry, and everything else is a push.
If this was Star Wars, Milty, it'd be Jabba the Hutt versus Han Solo, and nobody's picking Jabba the Hutt, so that's not.
No, I wouldn't say Jabba the Hutt. I think that's that's overestimating the kind of like the weight disadvantage. Think of
Well, I did
somebody
say
else
in a
that's
Star Wars comparison.
yeah.
Is there anybody else who is fat in Star Wars than them?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a fat person, but not I can't think of one right now. So in Star Wars, unfortunately,
The original actor who played Jabba the Hutt before.
yes, the original actor that played Jabba the Hutt, might be more of a a direct comparison with Fat Walda. Maybe Aunt Beru, perhaps, but even then she wasn't really that big. So
yeah, that's on you. Bury yourself.
Yeah,
no, I did. I thought it. No doubt about it. But I didn't
so basic location is a push. The weaponry is a push with a slight advantage towards Gendry because basically the swing of Hatchet is sort of like swinging a hammer. Same type of kind of weapon, right? It's basically a blade or a blunt and attached to a stick. Gendry would be used to using a hammer, so it'd be very familiar in terms of the swinging style. And Gendry is more physical. It's Gendry, dude. I can't find a case for Fat Walda here.
Can I just say though, Milk, the way you're calling out pushes, anywhere with Fat Walda is a push. Just saying.
What did I say? I'm not gonna say anything. I want to say something.
Noise?
I want to say
what
something.
Was that
but
noise?
I'm not
Wait,
gonna say anything. All right.
Can you have to check? Can anybody explain to me what the fuck that noise was there, Milk?
Okay.
Are you a feeder?
So AK says that she picked number 9 in the beginning that I missed. So we're gonna go 9 here for the next one. I think this is scenario 5 out of 7. So 9 it is.
We both have Gendry for that, yeah?
Gendry, yep. So we've only disagreed once, and that was the Kyber and Albus Dumbledore one. So,
crazy. You're very smart today, Milk.
4, 5, 6. Oh man, this is gonna be hot. This is gonna be good. Okay, we have Ramsay Bolton.
Okay.
With a hot iron. On the Isle of Faces against Bittersteel with a lightsaber. Here we go, again. Okay, make your lightsaber arguments at this point.
That's pretty much it, isn't it?
I guess. Okay, I'll go first since you went first last time.
Get it, homie.
They're both great fighters. Okay, again, no, the location doesn't favor one or the other here. Okay, at all. So location's a push at this point. I mean, Ramsay with a hot iron could be pretty freaking deadly because he's just so psychopathic, right? And so savage and so vicious. He can do something with a hot iron here. But then again, we have Bittersteel, one of the greatest fighters in the lore, right, of A Song of Ice and Fire, right? He was the commander of Daemon Blackfire's forces, okay, in the first Blackfire Rebellion. He knows how to fight. He founded the Golden Company. He knows how to use a freaking sword. And him with a lightsaber in his hands, it's pretty freaking deadly. I mean, I can't see how Ramsay can get inside of that lightsaber. He's going up against such a good fighter. I mean, if it was anybody else with a different kind of weapon, if it was Bittersteel with a normal sword, this would be a really great fight. But that lightsaber takes it. I mean, there's no freaking way. Yeah, it's Bittersteel all the way. I mean, it's too much of a technological advantage with that weapon. Even though, I think Ramsay Bolton against anybody else with a conventional weapon will win this fight. Or will have a good chance to win this fight. But that lightsaber takes it.
For the record, I know what Milky's doing. Yeah, I know what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's definitely baiting y'all, first and foremost, with that Ramsay talk. And it's working.
Dude, he's savage.
It's working pretty
he's
well.
savage, and that's the perfect weapon for him. I mean, it's totally, he's savage. I mean,
yeah, man, I totally believe the tone of your voice when even you don't believe it when you're he's savage. Yeah, okay, Mel.
He's savage,
yeah.
like Savage Garden. Hey, like
yeah.
Savage Garden. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, like Savage. I like how you worded it. I caught on slow, and I was like, yeah, he's doing that on purpose. It's Bittersteel all day. He can look after himself. Even if you switch them weapons around, I think it'd be a more interesting fight. Do you know what I mean? Because Pussy Bolton, he needs everything he can get his hands on.
Yeah.
But, do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. The Isle of Faces, as you said, location doesn't really change anything for
push.
either of them. Yeah, do you know what I mean? If it was the oil of bitches who ran away from a war, I think Ramsey might win that. You know, it's a tough call between these two, actually, because the two of them have similar traits in that manner. I would say it's totally bitter still, and even if you gave bitter steel a hot iron and Ramsey a hot iron, it's totally bitter steel again. So the fact you've given him a lightsaber, it's a bitter steel way to go for Mr. Ramsey.
Yeah, you know, and again, guys in the chat, okay, everybody's saying, you know, what do you think talking about Melt? You know, he's not a great fighter. With a hot iron, you don't have to be a great fighter. You just need pure rage and savagery to use a hot iron. Okay, it's not like he's wielding a sword, right? You actually have to be formally trained into using, right, or a Morning Star or something like that. I mean, anybody with a hot iron who has enough rage and is psychopathic can use a hot iron, right, and turn that into a freaking deadly weapon. Okay, so.
You sound like Gendry to Arya.
Okay,
you know?
it's like a rabbit dog, right? Again, no, he's been compared to as a rabbit dog, right? Imagine a big rabbit dog against a policeman, right, with a club.
Yeah, but just because you're a savage or a rabbit dog, like in my younger years, like if you got into a scuffle with people on a night out, it's that they may have the reputation for being a rabbit dog and they're bitches, really, you know, when it comes to an actual fight. So I don't give him any props for that personally, you know what I mean? Anybody can be a rabbit dog. It's just, you know what I mean? It depends on how moral you are. It doesn't make him a better fighter in any way. Yeah.
But, you know, it doesn't matter because I already said Bittersteel was one of the greatest fighters in history, guys. So I'm going with Bittersteel, okay? But I'm just saying that Ramsay Bolton with a weapon like a hot iron against Bittersteel with a more conventional weapon might be a better fight. Jeez. Okay, so.
Do you know what it's kind of like? It's kind of like every drink I'm having here, it's like Milty's the one getting drunk off it. So give him a break, yo.
I mean, yeah.
Deflecting him. Give him a break,
all right. So I think we're both saying Bittersteel here. Okay.
Yeah. We want a tricky one, man. I want the 50-50.
Okay.
The Aereo and Tywin seem to be the closest out of all of them so far.
Okay, somebody pick a number between 1 and 10, a positive integer.
As soon as Minty says a positive integer, everyone's like, say what?
Well only because dog gave me 3.14 here, which is just a floating point number. I want a positive integer here.
There you go, yo. That's some old Valyrian speak for smart people. Ramsay got beat up by a man with a shield against a lightsaber. 10 seconds it would last.
Yeah.
Says Owen.
Okay. Well, Alicia did it last time, so I'm going to DA here with 3. All right. So.
Sexist.
1, 2, 3. This is scenario 6 here. All right. We have Loras Tyrell with a magic wand at the Hall at the Hall of Faces against Carl Fukin Tanner, the Legend of Jin Alley, on a mammoth. Whose turn is it to start this time?
I don't know. Your amazing analysis has put me on the slow. I can go first on this one if you want. I'm regretting saying that instantly because I was like, I didn't even pick.
I mean, Renly might think Loras Tyrell has a magic wand. Just saying. Go ahead, John.
Carl is looking at that going, Loras, yeah, that's a magic wand already. Like, that could be a metaphor for Loras outside Renly's window, you know, with the magic wand. So, is it an actual magic wand?
Yes, like, say it is a magic wand.
Give me the levels to this, Milt. Yeah, it's a role-playing game wand, here, and you have levels.
But remember, the magic wand's only powerful in the hands of a magical person, right? Okay,
I'm just computing the actual fight when you're saying that, and then I'm looking as you're saying that. I'm looking at the fight.
The reason why you put a magic wand is that magic wand in the hands of a magical person, like maybe Leaf, or like Melisandre, or Mokaro, okay, might be more of a realistic weapon than against somebody like Loras Tyrell, right?
No, I get you. Yeah. It's just, So it's Loris Tyrell wielding it though. That like changes the game. Like, you know, I mean, it's like the obvious one is Carl Tanner on a fucking mammoth. You know what I mean? You look like a ball bag mammoth. Can Loris, does he have the ability to just kind of, you know, put that, if he puts that mammoth down, it's game over. And I think on the physical, oh, is it though? Could Loris be like Carl, you know, on a physical? Because we know Carl is a devious little bastard who fights dirty. Loris would be used to fighting knights. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like there's a courtesy to the fight. He would not be used to fighting someone that fights dirty. So even on a physical, like with swords, Loris, that's where he's one of the best. Mm-hmm. But like there's no swords in this at all.
Nope.
So on the physical, it's like Carl Tanner is the everything that Loris doesn't want in a fight. You know, without a sword, like he's everything. He's the wrong matchup for him. I'd have to. I want Loris to win because I personally like Loris, but it has to be Carl Tanner unless you can drop anything to change my mind.
I think Renly probably thinks Loris has good aim. Anyway, so
Seaman Spadagata.
No. Yeah, I mean, I think this is no contest. I think Carl Tanner takes this. Okay. The mammoth does have a disadvantage being in an enclosed area, right? In the hall faces. Mammoths are basically, you know, open field war instruments of war, if you will, right? I mean, they're made for charging, you know, breaking an enemy's line in a field of open battle. So the mammoth would have a hard time moving around. So in terms of the location, I would give it to Loris. Loris has a nimble weapon, you know, and he's a prime fighting abilities. You know, he can move around in there. So the weapon itself, you know, basically the weapon itself, you know, lends itself towards, you know, being an advantage in an enclosed area versus a mammoth. But here's the problem. Loris is a non-magical human, right? I mean, he's a third son of the Tyrells, of Mace Tyrell. I mean, he's not from the north, okay? There's no magical abilities there. He's not like a red priestess, you know? He's not... I mean, he doesn't do anything. He probably doesn't even believe in magic. He probably doesn't even believe in the White Walkers or the others or whatever, you know, those tales coming in. He was raised, again, in the South, right? It's all about chivalry, knighthood, and that kind of BS, and war, right? And, you know, if it was anybody else, if it was a magical person with that magic wand, perhaps they could do something with it. But Loris can't do anything with that weapon. So he's basically defenseless. I mean, he's offensive. Defenseless as well as has no offensive capabilities. Carl Tanner's a monster, right? I mean, if anybody, again, I always said that if there was one person that I went with me in a bar brawl, it would be Carl Tanner. Because he fights dirty and he fights to win.
He's the opposite, isn't it? It's the polar opposite, where Loris is used to clean fights with knights and, you know, it's all courtship. And whereas Carl Tanner, he's if you're a boxing promoter and you wanted to keep a zero on your boxer, you know, you definitely want to avoid Carl Tanner as the next fight. Like,
and
for Loris, he's not a good match for him.
Yeah, and you know, in Carl Tanner, I mean, even though he's on a mammoth in an enclosed area, I mean, he could probably just jump off that mammoth and just basically punch Loris in the face. I mean, Loris against Carl on a one-on-one battle, okay, because the magic wand's useless because Loris can't do anything with it. Carl can probably just, you know, throw away the mammoth and let it do what it does in the Hall of Faces, right? Thrash around like a bull in a china shop. Then it becomes a one-on-one battle, right? You know, between Loris and Carl, and Carl fights dirty as hell. I mean, Carl will take this, you know, in a bar brawl or any kind of fight to the death. Yeah, I mean, I think it's Carl Tanner here. That's the clear choice.
That's my one. It goes similar. If it opened up, first of all, though, I thought the Hall of Faces was big though. I thought that was a wide open motherfucker. Right? Is it small and enclosed?
No, I mean it's pretty big. I mean, it has columns, right? You know, where they based and, you know, shelves or whatever that they store the faces, whatever. But mammoths are pretty huge creatures, right? So I mean, can it really maneuver around, you know, in a place with, you know, many columns and many, you know, shelves, or if you will, you know, full of faces?
I always kind of visualized it though. Like, do you remember in the first Lord of the Rings, when the Balrog came out, you know,
Hmm.
in the old dwarves, like
Hmm.
the Mines of Moria,
Hmm.
kind of that's why because you had your columns there, but it was really big, it was
Well,
dark and
yeah.
big. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're talking about the mines of Moria, right? I mean, it's been delved, right? And these are natural formed caves. I mean, very big caverns. I mean, Hall of Faces is still the Hall of Faces at the end of the day is still a building, right? And it's limited. It has a smaller finite volume, if you will.
All right. Well, even with that,
Yeah,
say we go with a big
yeah,
space or a small space,
yeah. Hmm.
if it's a big space, I can see Loris evading the mammoth with Carl on it. And you have to go, does Carl know how to command the mammoth? So I don't think he does. So I think it's just kind of Carl's on the mammoth and the mammoth is doing whatever the fuck the mammoth
Yeah.
is doing, and Carl's just winging it. Um, and I think Loris is he's good enough to evade that. Because I think he does have a sharpness about him, and he'll obviously have his wand. He'll be behind the pillar. The mammoth will be going around, not having a clue. He'll look at his wand and be like, fuck this. Carl Tanner will get off the mammoth to be like, I'll kill you myself, you flowery bastard. You look like a ball bag. You know, going on that shit, just sick of it. Loris will throw the wand out, no use to him, so it will come to a physical fight. And that's what I mean. I think Loris will do well initially. I think he'll start off being the victor. He'll be cleanly avoiding it. When Carl realizes, oh, this dude can actually fight, that's when he's gonna go dirty, and he'll probably like evade a punch and like fucking kick him in the balls or something. Loris is not used to that type of shit.
No.
So by the time Loris is questioning what the fuck, Carl Tanner will be behind his throat,
Yeah.
choking him out,
Yeah.
and I believe it's KO from there.
Yeah, it's Carl. I would put Ramsey Bolton in the same situation. If he could have just jumped off the mammoth and on a 1-on-1 battle, I would pick Ramsey basically against Loris as well. I think Ramsey would just bite his ears off, but bite his face or be the deception. Fighting dirty wins on fighting dirty wins. Okay, in a bare hands match. Because the weapons right now are kind of useless for both people.
Yeah, it's just coming to a physical fight,
Yeah,
isn't it? And
yeah,
Loris is a great fighter, but
yeah,
Tanner kind of has everything that you don't want to see.
yeah,
Like every weakness that Loris
yeah,
has,
yeah,
that's his strength. So
yeah.
that's what he takes it like.
Yeah, and people need to understand here that mammoths are basically used in an open field of battle, right? I mean, we're talking about inside a building, okay? I mean, there's not enough room for a mammoth to basically, charge, right? That's their main strength is to charge, okay? So even if the Hall of Faces was huge, like a big old cavern, or whatever, as big as the mines of Moria, no freaking way. It still needs room
And
to
my
charge. It needs at least like 50 yards to basically charge to build up enough momentum to actually use a mammoth. Okay.
It's kind of like if you got
Yeah.
the only way you can really utilize the mammoth as an actual mammoth, like the behemoth it is if you have someone from the north, like a wilding, like
Exactly.
Jormund, Tormund Giant
Mm.
Spain or something, because then you can make an argument how they'd be used to it. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Or if you use like a mammoth, like in an open field, like outside of Highgarden, right, against like Cersei with a lightsaber, perhaps.
No comment. No
All
comment.
right.
Forget about the path.
And next, I need another number, guys. Pick a number.
It has to be a specific number, guys, because Milt is a mathematician.
None of this 2.58 stuff, And I think this is our last scenario. This is number 7.
All right. Hopefully we get an easy one for Milt because it's been a tough day at the office for him. I apologize about that.
I mean, we pretty much agreed on everything except for the first one.
Well, you started off bad then.
Okay, a 7. Okay, last one here.
I agree with that, DA, by the way, as well, about the mammoth.
Okay, and what we have here is we have Daemon Blackfire, my guy, with a shovel in a shy.
Is it for himself and the rest of his story arc?
Okay, against Edark Stark with the cat's paw blade.
Interesting. I opened up the last one, Milty. Hit me with it.
Do you see my top 5, top 7 best Game of Thrones fighters? And Slash, A Song of Ice and Fire, who was number 1 on my list.
Eddard Stark.
Yep, Daemon Blackfire. I mean, the guy was trained in every weapon. Okay, I mean, he's big. He's awesome. Okay, he knows how to freaking fight, guys. Probably the greatest fighter I believe in the history.
It's gonna be a while.
Okay, in the history of A Song of Ice and Fire, and a shovel is nothing to him. He can wield a shovel just as much. I mean, he'll use it like a freaking sword if he wants to, right? Ashai. No, I mean the location doesn't really matter here. I mean, nobody's a red priestess or a red priest. Nobody's magical. They can't, use any kind of the mystical energies of the surroundings here. That's a push. Castball Blade is, it doesn't have the reach of a shovel. It's a great dagger, right? I'm not saying it's a bad weapon. It's Valyrian steel. It's light. You can maneuver it around. It's sharp. But I think it's at a pretty big reach disadvantage here against that shovel. And Eddard Stark is nowhere near the fighter that Daemon Blackfire was. Okay, nowhere near. I mean, Daemon Blackfire wins this easily against Eddard. Sorry, I mean, Eddard doesn't have Howland Reed with him, to basically stab him in the back or something like that. So it's like, it's just Eddard Stark here. Yeah, so there's no freaking way that Eddard Stark wins here. I mean, even with that nice weapon. I mean, Daemon Blackfire is the greatest fighter, in A Song of Ice and Fire. It's not even a contest. Daemon Blackfire all the way here.
Well, I want to make a case for Ed, but it comes back to the old argument.
Yeah.
Of when I was comparing, good fighters, and I had Ned in the good fighter bracket, and like Daemon would be a legendary fighter. Yeah. So, yeah, on that alone, I can't even argue that. I'd agree with that. When Game of Thrones was doing it's like it's questionable, like 3 series, before or pre-series. I was always thinking, Daemon, like his whole story would make for a trilogy that could probably contest Lord of the Rings. That's how much of a story this dude has. With his back and forth with his brother. Amazing. And everything he did, and that's one thing I always loved about him, was when he was like, oh yeah, no, come over, we'll sign a treaty, it's okay, it's peace. And it's like, no, fuck you, you're the enemy. I know that was very unmannerly to do that, to say the least. But I thought it was boss. So I am a fan of him. And he's not a full Targaryen, Tard, so you call it. So I can like him. Yeah. I think Daemon, for everything he went through in his whole story arc of taking on the army, pushing them back, keeping the kingdom safe, let alone a princess or loan or anything, his accomplishments completely dwarf. The only thing cool about Eddard Stark is that Sean Bean played him. So that's the contest really, and I think you could take the shovel away from Daemon, and he'd still dodge and weave, because his experience is just it's comparing a child to a full grown man when it comes to combat experience. Do you know what I mean? Ed has his fair shares. Ed is good. He's a good fighter, but compared to Daemon Blackfire, no chance. I mean,
you put Daemon Blackfire basically up on the same pedestal as maybe Sir Arthur Dayne, Cragen Stark, the Red Kraken, In modern times, the best modern day fighter I think is Strong Belwas, but in the current timeline, but that's how high up he is in the pantheon of greatest fighters, right? Of A Song of Ice and Fire, and Eddard Stark is maybe second tier at the most.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I mean. Yeah. He's a legendary. It's like I'd rather see Daemon with a Valyrian steel sword against Arthur with a Valyrian steel sword. Then we could talk.
And wielding a shovel is a shovel in the hands of Daemon Blackfire, who was trained at pretty much every single weapon, right, by Quentin Ball, aka Fireball. It's not even a contest. It's
end us with a contest, Milt. I think it's just a walkthrough.
Okay, Johnny. Give me a number between 1 and 10, and we'll end it with this one here.
Right, I'm gonna go with number 2, because that's what I think about Milt's arguments in general. It's a number 2.
Good one, Johnny. Good one.
That was a bit shit.
All right. Okay, so Johnny's pick here is that we have Old Man Craster, who's a tough old sod, by the way, with a revolver. Here. At the Night Fort against Thoros Amir with a blackjack. A blackjack is what Mord had when he was just basically whipping tearing around in the sky cell. That's what a blackjack is.
I thought it was a sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one. A revolver, though. No, I just seen as one proper a revolver. It was looking like a close one, until that fucking weapon. Like once they have a gun, it's game over. It's over. I can't even argue this one. It's game over. He's a fucking revolver. Can we change the revolver for something of the equivalent?
Pick another number here. I mean, yeah, I think Craster wins with the revolver. So,
yeah,
I mean, Star Wars is great and everything, but no, Craster has 6 shots to get him, right?
Even if he had a flaming sword, it's still not good.
And
for
Craster's no joke either. So I mean, okay, pick another number, Johnny.
Right, we'll go at 8 this time. Lucky number 8. If 8 is lucky. If it's not, then it's not lucky number 8, is it?
Let's pick another one because we have Arthur Dane with an AK-47. So pick another one.
Oh my god. My god. We'll go with 6.
This is the last time, okay? No. This is a freaking another Albus Dumbledore argument I want to get into here. So pick one more.
Oh my. We go with 1. Just 1. Fuck it.
It's Arthur Dane against Pycelle.
Oh my. Milk, you pick a fucking number, yeah?
Okay. I'm going to pick 7. No, actually, somebody in the chat pick a number here because we're failing in terms of our scenarios here. I mean, they're getting too one-sided here.
I think we've learned something though, Milt, is take the guns out in future.
Yeah, we'll take the guns out, yeah. And probably take the lightsaber
everything else is perfect. Yeah, the lights. Anything where you just go to that weapon in every argument, it's like, okay, trial and error.
Unless it's Lance Raider on a War Elephant against Cersei with a lightsaber.
No, that's a disadvantage. Because Cersei just goes through that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, we got 3. No, actually, we got I squared. Okay, he got 3. Okay, DA.
DA, this better be fucking good. Tywin's poop versus
Bran. We're going with this because I think this is a very even matchup. We have Gilly with a set of steak knives. Okay, in the Frey dining hall. Okay, against Hot Pie with a war elephant. Okay, Johnny, take it away. I mean, I know who's gonna win this. I definitely know who's gonna win this.
I was sounding so promising. Like, then, a war elephant. You know what I mean? Who's on the war elephant? Sorry, you said that
Hot
quick.
Pie is on a war elephant.
Hot Pie on a war elephant. Jesus, who's riding who in that one? That's the real question. Hot Pie on a war elephant. I don't think the Frey dining hall can house war elephant, so that'd be null and void, just like the last one. So it's literally Gilly and a set of steak knives. To be honest, Hot Pie would know his way around the kitchen, like, so his familiarity with Gilly's weapon actually here.
Yeah, I mean, Hot Pie
he may have.
Yeah, hot pie with a meat cleaver or like a frying pan or a set of steak knives can be pretty deadly.
That's what I mean is I think actually Gilly's weapon is working to our disadvantage here in this instance because like Hot Pie he knows shit like, and Gilly. She has the advantage with the weapon, of course, because Hot Boy has rolled, not jumped off. He's rolled off the elephant, and Gilly's like, "Wait, which one am I fighting?" Because she can't tell the difference for a minute. It's a bit blurry, and the silhouette of the two of them is pretty similar. So I'd have to go Hot Boy. He gets bucked the fuck off. The fight continues. The war elephant just wanders around. So them two are in the middle of the place. Gilly takes out our knives. As a wildling, I would say we don't know anything from a combat level of Gilly, but just as a natural born wildling, and the shit that she's been through, I'm sure she knows to a certain degree, how to skin and such. So she'd know how to use a knife to a certain degree. I think Hot Boy'd probably lead the fight. He'd know where the kitchens are, just off. Like he'd know the smell, and he loves that shit. So he'd lead her into the kitchens, and like. Is it plausible that Hot Pie can use the tools around him if he led her into the kitchen to grab something to defend himself, or is there just like nothing else around?
There's nothing else around. I mean, we're just in the Frey dining hall here.
Oh, well then Gilly's she's carving up a few Hot Pies then after he leads her to the kitchen, and he is a big boy though. He could probably take a few stabs before it sets in. So if he did actually if she was stabbing him and then he grabbed her hand and then caught her in a bear hug. as she was stabbing him, like he probably could take her out. Like I think it's a double KO. I think she goes to stab him, and then he grabs her and his strength just on top of her, suffocates her, but then he dies due to the stab wounds, and the two of them die. Double KO. That's what I think.
This is our first double KO ever on A Clash of Crows.
So, yeah, I'm going for a double KO.
Yeah. Okay. So, location-wise, the war elephant can't do anything, right? I mean, again, it needs room to charge. It needs room to basically, move his weight around. I mean, it basically a bull in a china shop scenario again here. So in that case, I would have to, in the location, I mean, Gilly definitely has the advantage in terms of weaponry. Hot Pie, there's no evidence that he can balance himself, like on a bull, in a china shop scenario. So he won't be able to stay on and actually use that war elephant to basically try to guide it and try to, smash Gilly somehow. I mean, hell, he's freaking Hot Pie, right? He knows how to bake cakes. So, and he's pretty out of shape too. So more than likely, he'll probably just fall off, because I mean, the war elephant would just be thrashing around inside a small enclosed space, again, like the Foray dining hall. All right, it'll just be thrashing around. So Hot Pie falls down. Gilly, I mean, I'm using your argument here because it's the right argument. I mean, she's a wildling. She knows how to use freaking knives, right? I mean, she's probably no joke when it comes to women fighters. I mean, I wouldn't put her on a level of like, Arya or even Osha, right? But she could definitely use steak knives. Okay, I mean, it's they're pretty deadly weapons. I mean, I have a set of Cutco knives, and they're pretty good. They're pretty nice. So they're pretty sharp too. So yeah, I mean, I just can't see Hot Pie winning this at all because he won't be able to control the war elephant. He'll be knocked off of the elephant. He won't have a weapon because he's not a great fighter at all. All Gilly needs to do is basically, and she has 4 steak knives too. So even if Hot Pie basically knocks one of the steak knives out, she still has 3, right? There's 4 steak knives in a set. So she still has 3 steak knives left to do her damage. And yeah, I mean, it's Gilly all the way. I mean, I don't think Hot Pie will even know how to get her into a bear hug. I mean, he'll be on the ground after falling off that war elephant, writhing in pain, and Gilly would just basically jump on top of him and start stabbing him in the face. EOD, KO, mortality.
I can totally mortality. If Milt designed fucking Mortal Kombat games, it'd be mortality. But yeah, no, Gilly wins by Milt. I can totally understand your argument. It's an interesting one. I her experience with it, and then the thing is though, if you're going to give Gilly the advantage of knowing, like in a death situation, then you also have to give Hot Pie that advantage of just because we've never seen him doesn't mean like we're giving Gilly that. So Hot Pie would have to get that too. Like we've just seen him kind of in his early Samuel Tarly, cowardice roles, so to speak. He took all the black pudding, but for real is like you have to give Hot Pie that as well. A man of his size and stature, it'd be like Hodor, unaware of their own strength, brute strength. Not to that level, but on this level between them two. So that's where I mean is his adrenaline rush should kick in. And do you say, if you get scared and your adrenaline kicks in, you have that percentage advantage of like how quicker your reactions are. I believe because Hot Pie is a coward, is that he'd get that adrenaline rush quicker and more instant on Gilly. And it's the same thing with Sam, how Sam found it to stab the White Walker. Like that's where I think is the loophole with this, and I see a double KO. Him just out of panic, just choking her, and like look at the size of him to her. Yeah. So I could see him snapping a neck or something, but he would die because Gilly will definitely stab him a few times. That's why I went double.
I mean, how old is Hot Pie? Okay, like in the books, I think he's like maybe 13 or 14, right? So it's not really a fully grown man yet. Gilly's a fully grown woman. She's probably very physically fit. I mean, having to basically carry those buckets of waters for Crastar or all over his keep, cooking for him, maybe hunting, maybe doing a lot of the work. So she's probably very, very fit and very, very strong here, in her prime, right? I mean, she may be like, what, 17 or 18? I'm not sure Hot Pie can even overpower her, honestly. I mean, just based on his physical shape, he's relatively young. He's probably a little bit smaller in terms of height, so Gilly has the leverage advantage here. I'm not sure, Johnny, if Hot Pie can overpower her and get her in that bear hug. Just based on physical maturity.
And I'm banking on the adrenaline rush, just the madness of it. I've not seen Hot Boy in a position where his adrenaline has been like pushed to have to fight. He's weak. I know we know Harrenhal and what we know. Yeah, relax, guys. There are definitely situations where your adrenaline should kick in, but the fact that this is a death battle and the two of them do have to fight, that's what I mean. Is I don't know the levels he has in him in this fight specifically. Gilly definitely has she's more savage, but it's just the height and the weight to him, and him on top of you. If you share the wedding night with him, he'd be going to a funeral a few hours later. So I don't know if that stupidity could come in to help him.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Hot Pie is a confirmed bachelor. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna have to give it to Gilly. I can't see any way Hot Pie can actually win this fight. Honestly, I mean, even with her scenario about the bear hug, maybe I mean, if it ever gets into the point of the fight where it becomes a wrestling match, maybe Hot Pie can do something with it. But I don't think Gilly will let it go to a wrestling match.
Yeah, if Tyrion can fucking choke Shay out, a full-grown woman, without it being Buck Tyrion with all flippy and shit, it's like I think Hot Pie can take Gilly.
But Tyrion had that chain. I mean, and then Shay was probably tired from just having coitus with Tywin.
Details, Milky. Cheers.
So
cheers for that visual.
So she was, no, it's different.
I can see your argument, though. I think you have a base argument. I just think they're both idiots, so it's a double KO. There's no instant where I see Gilly getting a win.
All right.
Maybe a W over Sam's D, but that's about it.
All right. So Johnny goes for the double kill, and I got to go with Gilly here. And I think that is all, guys, for the stream here. Thanks a lot for coming out. Hope everybody enjoyed the stream and had a fun time. And I appreciate everybody's numbers. So, Johnny, where can we find you? And what will you be doing next?
He's talking about the view count.
What will you be doing after the interview at the record store?
Well, after that, I'm going to go be a hipster and type in Nirvana online somewhere so I can pick the songs from the first album and then call everybody else who doesn't listen to them absolute no-nothings. No, fuck you, Milt. Yeah? And why am I even running with that bullshit? Fuck you. Fuck you in the face. Now, salute to y'all stopping in. It's always fun to see us all agree and disagree in a fun manner. And thank you to Milt, obviously. I love this game. It's very fun. You have the option to agree or disagree, and I think it's fun as hell. And I appreciate the step on, Milt. Cheers for giving me an early heads up because I was doing shit, and then I was like, yeah, I can get to that. So I appreciate it. I always have a hell of a lot of fun in here rocking this stuff, and I'm humbled to be here, Milty. And absolute, it's a shameless plug here. Is tomorrow? Well, tomorrow I'm uploading the Patchface podcast, which Milt was a part of, and we'll be doing it monthly. And it will be out tomorrow, and it's pretty funny. It's a pretty funny outcome to it. So I hope to see y'all over there. And absolute salute to y'all.
I know. I. And yeah, well, and again, you're on the Westeros Ninja channel. You know what I do. You can find me every second or third Friday hosting trivia. Just hosted trivia yesterday, last night, and this afternoon at about 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be on the Dog channel, and we'll be doing our top 5 fantasy Game of Thrones matchups in preparation for the Super Bowl. Who we want to see go mano a mano with one another, and I'll probably use this program to actually get my picks. Just kidding. And what else? What else is going on in this channel here? So we got that going on. Just did a Westworld stream. Check it out. It's pretty cool. What am I missing anything else? I think that's it. And stay tuned for next Saturday because we'll be doing another installment of A Clash of Crows with a special guest. So again, thanks a lot for coming out, and we will see you all later.